Hi, I'm Cath Andrews from raisinghappychickens.com. In 2016, two massive earthquakes hit central Italy where I live. Our house was so badly damaged that we had to be evacuated. The insurance company paid 2/3 of the cost of repairs, which ran to €220,000, but we had to find the rest. My websites helped to pay that outstanding amount.
Cath Andrews, just one of thousands of real people living real lives who are enjoying the benefits of a successful online business with Solo Build It, SBI, no matter what curved balls life throws at them. Hello, I'm Paul Buckingham, roving ambassador for Solo Build It. In 2008, Cath took her idea for a website about Italian culture and turned it into a successful online business, allowing she and her husband Mike to transition from working in northern England to retirement in central Italy. Cath is now the owner of two online businesses and a member of the Solo Build It content team. In that role, she supports other would-be online entrepreneurs to build their own successful online business. This is her story. So, Cath, not everybody wakes up in the morning going, I'm going to build a website today. What was the spark that really got you moving?
The spark was kind of a negative one in a sense. I was in a job that I really didn't like, and I decided to take early retirement. And I knew that would mean a massive drop in income. My pension would be cut by about 1/3, and I'd be earning a lot less than I had been. So I needed to find something that was going to keep me active because I was only quite young. I was actually a baby, really, when I retired. But I needed something to keep my brain going. I needed something to keep me interested. And I found SBI completely by accident.
You say you found Solo Build It, but did you go down a lot of dark alleys in the process of getting to Solo Build It?
Oh, you wouldn't believe how many dark alleys I went down, honestly. I found a company who would build me a website. They did a whole design that was the Italian flag colours and all the rest of it, handed it over to me, and I handed my money over. And then I went, well, now what do I do? And they said, not our problem. And I said, but I don't know how to do this. I literally couldn't open the website. I didn't know how. And I said to them, I need to write to this website. And they said, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do it for you. So you write the content, we'll upload it. And that'll cost you, and this is 10 years ago, that'll cost you £1,000 a month for us to do it. And I just couldn't believe that somebody would do that, really. And now looking back on it, I can see that must happen to a lot of people, that they find things that they think are going to work and then they discover that they don't for different reasons. And it's devastating. It really is devastating. I was gutted.
For us now, we often look at this in terms of building an online business because it's a great way to make money. But were you thinking in those terms in those days, or were you thinking only in terms of just getting a website up?
Yeah, absolutely, just getting a website up. It was, for me at the beginning, it was like a hobby, really. That's the way I saw it, because I wanted something to keep my brain engaged. I knew I'd have to earn some extra money because of the drop I'd taken in income, but I didn't really understand that a website could do that. So I was actually thinking I'd need to have another job, a 9-to-5 kind of job. So when I started the site, it was definitely a hobby site. And then as I started to go through the process, the action guide actually begins to talk to you before you get to the stage of setting up a website. It talks to you about, well, how are you going to make money out of this? And it was at that point I thought, well, I hadn't really thought of making money, but the action guide makes you take a step back. And then I began to think, okay, so if I can make a bit of money out of this, why wouldn't I?
So you were talking earlier about the dark alleys that you went down in the process. I'm curious because for a lot of people that might be watching this right now, they're often confronted with the same issues. They'll have a service that will say, please buy X number of domains, and they even want you to have the name of the website before you do anything else. How does that actually fit in with your experience for creating a successful online business now?
So it doesn't fit at all. I mean, I had this idea about a website, but when I look back on it, knowing what I know now, I had no idea how people were going to find it, for example. Even if I'd managed to write to it, I hadn't thought about how people were going to find it. I hadn't thought about what subjects I could write about, apart from thinking kind of vaguely about, well, I love Italy, so I'll write about Italy. I hadn't been focused at all because there wasn't anything to help me focus. There was nobody there to guide me and say, okay, you need to, before you actually set up this website, you need to think about various things. Nobody had said that to me, and I didn't have the knowledge to know, there's that saying, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, kind of thing. And that's a really difficult place to be in.
Perhaps the next thing to ask is how the process of developing the site worked for you. Did you have to work every day full time? Did you do a little bit a day? How did it grow?
So when I first started, I was still working full time, and it was a stressful job. It took a lot out of me. It took a lot of energy away from me. Once I found SBI, though, it gave me this huge surge of extra energy. So when I came home from work after a hard day, because it was a stressful job, I would still have the energy to sit down at the computer and actually work on this process. I started reading through the Solo Build It action guide, and the action guide is what took me by the hand and led me through a process that, 10 years ago, I had no knowledge about this. I knew nothing about how to build a website. It took me by the hand and led me step by step through a process, which means that now I have 2 successful online businesses. It is amazing.
Well, you mentioned the second online business. One's about Italy. The other one is about
chickens. My second website is about raising happy chickens.
That couldn't be much further from Italy, could it?
It couldn't be much further from anything, really. But actually, one of the things that SBI does is it makes you think really hard before you start the website. So whereas a lot of other platforms say, build a website in 15 minutes, and you can, there's no doubt you can stick a website up there in 15 minutes. But actually, SBI makes you think about what you're going to do with it. It makes you think about the process behind it, about whether you've got enough interest in this to stick with it for years. It's 10 years since I started. So, and it takes you to places which you would never believe you'd end up in. I did do a lot of work before. It didn't just come from nowhere. So the process in SBI leads you through days before you even find a website name. It talks to you about what your passions are. It then helps you to put that together with what the keywords are, how this site will be found. Is it going to be found? Is it something people are interested in? Or is it just something that I'm interested in but nobody else will care about? It helps you build that process, and it was just fascinating to kind of find myself in the middle of it thinking, I'm going to build a website about chickens.
So, Cath, the $64,000 question for somebody watching is probably, well, how many visitors do you get and how much money do you make? And I appreciate that we often don't want to divulge specific figures in terms of finances, but can you give us a bit of a yardstick about the traffic and what it's meant for you financially?
Yeah, of course. So both my sites, the Italian site and raisinghappychickens.com, are seasonal sites. In other words, at this time of year, October, running down to Halloween, Thanksgiving and Christmas, not many people are thinking about hatching chicks. So I always lose some traffic at this time of year. And then after Christmas, it starts to build up again. And it's the same with the Italian site. People start to think about their vacations in the new year. Having said that, the average number of people that visit, for example, the chicken site, is around about between 4,000 and 6,000 per day, depending on the time of year. So at this time of year, in the autumn running up to winter, it'll be round about 4,000 a day. In the new year, that'll increase again, and it'll keep increasing. And it also increases year on year, of course, as I get more people who come to the site and then come back to the site. So, and how does that translate into income? Well, the more traffic you have to a site, obviously, the more people can buy from the site. And that really works. You know, that's the way it works. The more traffic, the more income. The income that I make from the sites enables Mike and I to travel, for example, which we would never have been able to do before. It just gives us the freedom to do things that we would never have been able to do on a limited income.
So, Cath, in the introduction to the interview, you mentioned that your home and your life had been affected by the earthquakes in Italy. What impact did it have on your income?
So the earthquakes had impacts in lots of different ways. In terms of income from the sites, they just kept earning money because they were sitting there. I didn't need to do any work on them. They just kept earning money without me needing to do anything. And we had no internet connection for quite a long time. In terms of what happened then, the house was very badly damaged and we had to pay a huge amount in repairs. Although the insurance company paid some of that, the websites paid for a third of that. And without them, we would not have been able to have the house made as earthquake-proof as it now is.
So, Cath, as we're coming towards the end of this interview, is there one thing that you'd really want somebody that was considering starting a website or an online business, what they should know to really take the first step with certainty?
So I'd want people to know that the whole package is there. The whole package is there. So for help in knowing how to build a website, for help in actually getting to that stage of building a website, the action guide's there. Once you've got the website, the action guide's there to help you to build it up and to get more traffic. The articles that we have are there to help you with anything you can think of. We have hundreds of articles. There are the forums, which are just brilliant for helping people to get unstuck. So if somebody does get stuck on a part of the action guide, you go to the forums, there's somebody there all day, every day, because our members are worldwide. You ask any question you want to ask. No question is too small, no question is stupid. Somebody will answer that question and will answer it with knowledge and with certainty. So the message I'd want to give to people is, it's all there. That's all you need. Everything you need is within Solo Build It. You just need to jump in and trust the process, because the process works.